So I'm going to do that. All
Also,
right.
I think I'm the host. I don't know how.
Sorry,
I think I'm the host.
you are?
Should I? I think so.
Who made you the host?
I have no idea.
It's okay. You can be the host today, no problem.
Thank you.
I'm the guest now. All right. All right,
No,
guys. So like I said, I'm going to replace this malware lab with the DNS spoofing. So how many of you know what is the DNS protocol and what does it do?
Is it the one that's connected with the domain name server?
Yeah, so any domain name, for example, or any domain that you're trying to access, it basically resolves that domain name into the IP address, because without the IP address of that domain, you actually cannot browse or access the website, right? So whenever you are making a request to any website, the DNS protocol gets invoked. Let me just see if I can run the Wireshark and show you. So for instance, reddit.com.
So
If it's already in
DNS
the,
always been used UDP and TCP, yeah, in port 33.
sorry,
The DNS always use both protocol UDP and TCP.
it actually uses the UDP protocol, not TCP.
Ah, okay.
Okay. There's an obvious reason. I mean, UDP, we know that, it doesn't provide reliability, and it certainly is not secure as well. But the problem is that, I mean, logically speaking, DNS should be using the TCP protocol, because
Yes.
TCP is a reliable protocol, but
Yeah.
UDP is much faster. And when it comes to the DNS requests, you don't want a protocol like TCP, which causes delays and, more issues. So DNS is always running on the UDP. However, if you want to make it secure or something, then you have to add some security protocol like DNSSEC, which provides additional security for the DNS. Like I said, DNS can run over TCP as well, but by default, it runs on the UDP. Now you can see here, when I made the request for the domain, the first protocol that was invoked is actually the DNS protocol in order to resolve this domain name that I'm requesting, right? So DNS poisoning basically, or DNS spoofing, is the attack in which the attacker spoofs the or poisons the cache of the victim, and then instead of resolving it to the actual IP address, it resolves to the fake IP address, which fake, or you can say the attacker's IP address. When it resolves to the attacker IP address, what happens is that he's actually redirected to a fake website or fake web page, right? So today I'm going to demonstrate basically how the DNS poisoning can be carried out. Now, in order to make it more advanced, you can go ahead and clone some website and then host it on the attacker's machine, which I'm not going to do, but I will just show you the whole process. And when the attacker, he hosts the fake website, so the victim, he's actually redirected to the fake website without even knowing that it's actually a fake website, right? So let me just quit without saving. So if I ping, for instance, not from here, the victim. So if I, for instance, ping facebook.com, for instance, So you can see here, this is the actual IP address, which is 31.13.71.36, the Facebook IP address, right? So once I do the DNS spoofing or DNS poisoning, it basically should show the attacker's IP address, that the reply is coming back from the attacker's machine. So in order to do that, you have to do 2 or 3 changes. The first change that you need to do is you need to go to the ettercap.configuration file, and in this configuration file, let me just see. So the get user ID and the user ID and the group ID, you have to set it to the 0. So by default, it was something else. I already modified it. So when you open your configuration file, you'll see some number like 69543, something like that. So you can replace it with 0, these two. And another change that you have to do is so under this Linux, these 4 lines for IP forwarding, this is basically this was commented before, so you just have to uncomment it. I mean, it was like this before, so all you have to do is remove these hashes to uncomment these 4 lines for IPv4 and IPv6 to allow the IP forwarding. Okay, these are the 2 changes that you're going to make in the ettercap configuration file. All right. The next thing that you have to do is you have to change the etter.dns file as well. And you have to do only 2 modifications depending upon which domain you are trying to, you know, for which you want to basically do the DNS spoofing. So for example, for me, I have done it for the Facebook, as you can see in the configuration file, right? If you're doing it for some other domain, obviously you shouldn't do it for all the domains, because then it becomes more suspicious. So a certain domain that you're targeting, like Facebook or Yahoo or whatever domain you want to spoof, you can basically spoof it. So write the domain and then the A records and then the IP address of Kali Linux, because just want to double check. Yeah. So what happens is that when the attacker is going to make a request to the DNS to find the IP address of facebook.com, it basically will be the DNS will reply back with this IP address 36.133 rather than the actual IP, which I basically just showed it to you, that it is actually 31.13.71.36. All right. Okay. Once you have done this, and you can do it for any domain that you like. So quit. So static, I put static here because whether it's a login page or any page basically has to be redirected. I mean, for all these requests, starting with anything.facebook.com, like usually you have login.facebook.com. Again, that will come to the attacker's machine, right? Once you are done that, I think you have used this before, the ettercap. So run the GUI for the ettercap. And then you can just, it's already by default switched on. The first thing I want to do is to find out the hosts on my network. Scan for hosts. So 5 hosts are on my network. I'm going to list these hosts. So this is the one which is the target 36.131. We'll add it to target 1. One more thing you have to do is basically when you go to the plugins, you'll have to go to manage plugins and make sure that the DNS spoof plugin is switched on, right? So right now it's not activated. I'm just going to double click it so you can see at the bottom, it has activated the DNS spoofing spoof plugin. Okay, and then you will basically start man in the middle attack, which is our poisoning. Okay. So now basically the DNS spoofing should be done. If I go back on the, I'll open a new terminal. One more thing I want to do is, okay, so let me see, facebook.com. So if you see here now, previously the reply was coming back from 31.13.71.36. However, right now it's coming from 192.36.133, which basically means that when this machine made a DNS request, the reply that came back from the DNS server, which in our case is basically the attacker's machine. So it's coming from the local, it's coming from the attacker, right? So, which basically means that the DNS spoofing has been successful. An additional thing that you can try to do is that if I do it right now, if I try to visit, for example, Facebook, it won't go to the actual website, but it's not loading anything. It's because I haven't hosted anything on the local machine, right? So what I want you guys, an additional task to this is to clone the page of the Facebook and host it locally. I will give you a hint. The hint is that, and this is what you have to do it, okay? So the hint is that you will basically start the Apache service, okay? The web service, and then you'll have to clone that page, the one that you want to do, and host it on the local, on the Kali Linux, okay? If you can do that, when the attacker visits the website of Facebook, he should actually get the Facebook page, but coming from the attacker's machine. Okay. There are different cloning applications that you can use. I think if you remember, did we do the SCT toolkit? Do you remember, guys?
Yes, doctor. SCT. Well, yes.
Do you remember we did the SCT toolkit?
SCT tool.
Social engineering toolkit. Did we work on it before?
No,
I don't think so, right?
no.
Okay, I will show you another interesting thing. Let me just stop this for a while. So that is your major task that you have to do to perform DNS spoofing. And the additional task is you can try to clone the web page and then host it locally. What I'm going to show you the next is in this toolkit, which is called the SCT toolkit. It's a very interesting toolkit. It has lots of attack vectors. It's called social engineering because most of the attack here are related to social engineering. Not only social, but mainly I have been using it for the social engineering. You can see here penetration testing module is also there. So if I use the first one, so it starts with the SET toolkit when I wrote SET toolkit, and it's a very interactive and easy to use. So for instance, if I use number one option, for example, which is the social engineering, then it has a lot of attack vectors. So spear phishing, website attack vectors, infectious media generator, so on. If I take the second option, which is website attack vectors, further it has a Java applet attack method, Metasploit browser, credential harvester. I'm going to use number 3, which is credential harvester. In credential harvester, you have 3 options. You can use the site cloner to clone any website. You can use the web templates, the templates which are available within the SCT toolkit. There are not many templates, I think 2 or 3. So if I select option 1, so it is asking me where do you want it to, on which IP address you want this web template to be running, obviously on the local machine. So it has only 3 templates. It has Google, it has Twitter, it has Java. So let's go with the third one, but you can clone the other websites as well. You just have to provide the URL that you want to clone, right? So if you can see here, it says that it has successfully stopped the Apache and starting the credential harvester. So the credential harvester is now running. If I go to the attacker's machine, and this is a different attack, okay? This is not DNS poisoning. You can actually change the URL as well. You can hide this URL into some other, you might have received this bit.ly kind of things. If you see here, when I type the IP address, it basically takes me to the Twitter page, right? If I write Asadraza at twitter.com, I'll just write it Asadraza, no need. And password. So obviously it will not log me in because this is not the real Twitter web page. But it actually grabs the username and the passwords that I just entered. It doesn't show it here. There's something I need to actually change or run it. No, it does show here. So you can see here the username and the password also. The one I just put a fake password, capital P at SSW0RD. So, and even there are some, I will show you, maybe I can find something. So in this, you're not doing any DNS poisoning, you're not doing any, you're basically doing the social engineering attack. Sometimes you might have received the URLs from the, in the emails as spam emails to log into this and click on that link. They basically, then take you to the malicious website or fake website, just like the way so now it has redirected to the original Twitter page, but actually, if you see it here, the IP address is 36.133 and it shows the Twitter because I used the template of the Twitter, the first one, right? There are websites, let me think about it. It's think shorten the URL or IP to URL converter. Actually, you can try some of these websites to see if they are free, you can. I will try to find some of them. I've used it a long time back. This is something else, DNS checker. No, not this one. No. Okay, let me try to find out some links that basic Grabify, maybe that is the one. I think so. I used this one before. So for instance, if I take this, create a URL. So you can see here, this is just an example to show you that basically this was the URL and then it has been, because this looks more suspicious, this one looks less suspicious. So if I copy, for example, this one, and then go to this URL, let's see. And then you can see here, it actually again redirected me to the, so that sometimes the attackers, they actually hide their original URL. This is not the best example, but as you can see, this URL, when I click on this URL, for example, this URL, and I send it to some email, it actually redirects you to the fake web page, which I just cloned. That is the Twitter, right? So you guys can do both of them and submit as one file, okay? Into the lab, which is titled as the malware. Okay. You have any questions? Let me check. Okay, now for the other lab, which is the, so you'll have a lot of things to do today. So the other lab, which is the Windows privilege escalation.
Is it the same one that Sumi gave us a demo today?
I don't know. He already gave the demo, or Swami is there?
Yeah, he is here.
Swami?
Sumi, it's the same one, right?
Hello, assalamu alaikum everyone.
Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome.
Swami, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Assalamu
How's your health
Good,
now?
man. You gave the demo for this lab or some other, the Windows privilege?
Actually, I gave them in general demo of Windows privilege escalation. I
Okay.
shared them the room of Try Acme where they will learn about the juicy potato, everything,
Oh, okay.
and then they'll do it on their own.
Okay, great. So what I did now is that I have replaced this malware lab because they need to submit something there, right? In the malware
Correct.
lab. So they will submit this DNS spoofing and SCT toolkit lab there. And the one that you have done the demo for today, they will submit it in the Windows privilege escalation.
Great. That sounds fun.
Yeah. Right, guys. So you guys will be busy, I think,
Yeah, we will
till
be.
4. So you can get started now.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
If
Okay.
you want to give us a demo about this one again, I'm fine
No,
with
and
it.
when Mr. Sami has given, then
Yeah, he did. Thank you,
yeah.
Sumi.
Asad, you can give if they are asking, you should give, like it would
No,
be fine.
man. How
No, it's
we will
fine.
keep spoon feeding with them. They have a lab belt exam next week. Let them.
Yeah, it's a break for Mustafa.
Let them do it.
Actually, you should teach us just because we have a belt exam next week.
Yeah, I will teach you.
Yeah.
But first, you guys start working. Okay. If you have any problem,
Yeah.
then of course I'm here.
We'll come to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I
Thank
will stop the
you.
recording and I will upload the video as well in the meantime.
Okay. Should I make